Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm Laurel Sauer.
And I'm Alan Gerstel.
Thanks for joining us for Heritage. It's a series of exciting and unique local programs originally produced by WXEL's partners at the Education Network. Tonight, we present Choices. It was created for Black History Month. And I know that you went through a number of options in deciding how to approach the topic, Alan.
Yes, I did, Laurel. As the writer-producer, I had many possibilities, but I chose not to create a documentary about segregation because that's certainly been done before and in most cases done very well. Instead, I chose to focus on 5 local African Americans who are a beacon of inspiration to all of us.
So our viewers will learn about a police chief, a college president, the operator of a halfway house for veterans, the founder of a local museum, and an acclaimed Broadway actress and singer.
Let's meet them all as we take a look at Choices.
I thought that if I went to school and majored in criminal justice then, that would put me ahead of the game, and I think it did make an impact because I wound up being I applied for this job not knowing that I was making history in essence, and turned out to be the first African American female hired here by the West Palm Beach Police Department.
I wasn't aspiring to be a president. I would lie to you if I said that that was the case. My only goal throughout, the primary thing that pushed me, was to be able to make a greater influence on the academic environment. And when I was in the classroom, you know, that's what I enjoyed doing.
She would come out to their garage apartment periodically and say, "Vera, did you finish your homework? Let me see what you've done. You need to get this, Roman numerals. You need to get those Roman numerals because when you," she didn't say if you go to college, when you go to college, you're going to need this.
Early on when I started working in this field, I got this nice little phrase that I used to share when I was working in the Palm Beach County Jail doing substance abuse. And it was first the man takes a drink, then the drink takes a drink, then the drink takes the man.
We had great mentors. They call them mentors now, but we had great people who just inspired us. You know, our teachers inspired us, our ministers inspired us. The community people were really community people. And I say that with emphasis because we don't have a community now like the one that I had when I grew up.
Drelsa Bush was born in Mississippi. Her parents moved to the Lake Worth Boynton Beach area when she was 4.
We were born in the poorest, state in the Union and probably into the poorest family in the state. And then when we got here to South Florida, things didn't get better for us at all. I mean, I've basically held a full-time job ever since I was in like maybe 7th or 8th grade. I came from not one, but 2 illiterate parents, and I mean illiterate parents. My dad, I don't think, really ever went to school, and you're not talking like ancient history here. You're talking, the 50s and the 60s when people were getting educations. They were just, in an area and due to their socioeconomic circumstances, didn't get an opportunity to go to school.
She doesn't say that to be critical of her parents, only to inspire others that they too can achieve their goals despite their backgrounds. Her first school was Boynton Beach Elementary.
I clung to my sister wherever she went. I didn't care. I didn't know the rules and the protocol of going to school, so I would go to my class. She was in the 2nd grade and I was in the 1st, and I would leave my classroom and go to her classroom and sit in the chair with her. We were quite small, you know, tiny kids, and the teacher would like, this kid, she called my mom, you got to keep this kid in her class. So, and needless to say, I wasn't doing well at all, you know, in school. And there was this lady, a Jewish lady, and I'll never forget her. Her name was Miss Benedict, and I don't know why I can remember all these things, but she told my mom, and she spoke to the principal, and she says, you know, there's something special about this kid. I don't know what it is, but I really think she can do better if, you know, just let me personally work with her.
Miss Benedict took Drelsa home with her after school all through 2nd grade and exposed her to a world she never knew. She told her about historical events like the Holocaust and helped the little girl with her homework.
At the end of 2nd grade, I just, you know, everything was so clear to me. I was doing better than basically, you know, anyone in the class. And I mean, I was just like, I was the quote smart kid that everybody copied from. And I think that lasted all the way up, you know, to graduation. I think I won more scholarships in my high school class than anybody, and I was in the top of the class and stuff like that. And it was not because I had someone at home helping me. It was because, I don't know, I felt that that was the key to success, and it made me feel good.
She made a choice to pursue a career in law enforcement when she was just 13 years old. Her 3 younger brothers were with her at the time.
It involved an assault upon my mother. She was actually shot in our presence. And, you know, it's a story that's difficult for me, but when I saw you know, we were here basically, we were by ourselves, and the only people that were there to take care of myself, I think I was maybe 13 at the time, and I had 3 brothers that were younger than I, and all of us witnessed this, you know, horrific act. She survived the shooting, barely. The compassion that the officer showed us at that particular time was enough to convinced me, hey, you know what, I think I want to do that when I get older.
And when she was older, she became the first female captain in the West Palm Beach Police Department and the first female assistant chief. And she made history once again when she was promoted and became the first female African-American police chief in the city of West Palm Beach.
I would like to see that person who, you know, did not have some challenges along the way. I would also like to see a person who perhaps at a very young age and as a sibling knew exactly what he or she wanted to do.
Dr. Dennis Gallin has been the president of Palm Beach State College, formerly Palm Beach Community College, since 1997. His early passion was music, specifically the drums.
For years, I aspired to be a whole lot of things other than being a professional educator. I played as a musician, played in a band in high school, and for years I was thinking that that was going to be my way of making a living. And I enjoyed that. That is one job that I've had that I felt that I perhaps should not have been compensated. I really thought at one time in my teen years wanted to be Leonard Bernstein, because he really just inspired me from the way that he was able to conduct, the orchestra, and to be able to use that one little stick and have so much influence on what's a large group of individuals.
He left Monticello to attend college in Jacksonville, but really only wanted to feed his passion for music. He eventually enrolled at Edward Waters College as an undergraduate and made a choice.
And then it came time to make a decision about, what do you want to major in? And I decided to major in business, primarily because I figured I could teach it, or I would be able to work in the corporate world.
He describes himself as a dedicated student.
I enjoyed going to class in the day and coming back and going to the cafeteria, getting my evening meal, and then coming back to my room and spending endless hours cutting off all the music, didn't want to be disturbed by anything, and just focusing. I can just enjoy in the middle of the night reading something and feeling myself grow intellectually.
Dr. Gallin got his master's in business at Indiana University and his PhD in college administration at the University of Florida. An internship exposed him to the possibilities in the field of education.
You have the opportunity, for someone to want to distract you, or to have someone that would even try to move you away from your career path, try to derail you. And I would say that, yes, I, had confronted some of those kind of things, but you overcome. You don't let, those kind of small things detract you from what you set out to be.
When he graduated, he continued to pursue excellence, first as a part-time professor at a Jacksonville high school and later at a community college.
It just was a matter of getting into that classroom and being a role model professor to the degree that I could, trying to improve, do things in such a way that it would cause my peers to say, that's the way to do it.
That striving for excellence led to various administrative positions and finally to Palm Beach State College.
I think we all put here on this earth for a reason. And I think that an individual, all of us should listen to that inner self that kind of drives us towards a particular angle, a particular profession. And to the degree that you are able to find something that you can do that you enjoy, really, I think, is the key to being successful.
The Spady Cultural Heritage Museum stands in Delray Beach as a monument to Solomon D. Spady. It was the home of the prominent African-American educator and community leader.
Mr. Spady was a well-respected, highly respected person. Some people even brought their money to Mr. Spady to bank for them. They had some of them had no idea of record keeping at all, how to retain proof of your deeds, your property. And so he was just well loved and respected.
He also helped the early African-American settlers organize a co-op for housing and a co-op grocery store. The museum was founded in 2001 by Vera Farrington, who grew up in Delray Beach.
My mother was fortunate enough to get a job as a maid in a household. The name was Ostro, Henry Ostro. I don't know what her first name was, but Henry Ostro was a prominent man here in Delray. And he liked the way she cooked. So he opened a restaurant and took her out of his kitchen and put her in this restaurant. She became the first cook of Patio Delray, which was a prominent restaurant.
Mrs. Ostro became a mentor to Vera and to her sister. She invited the girls to stay in her garage apartment after school while their mother worked for the Ostro family. And Mrs. Ostro insisted that the girls would go to college.
She instilled in me that you're going to college. And my mother, too, I guess she instilled in her also, because back then, mother couldn't see her way to send us to college. She was trying to build a house, maintain a house. But Mrs. Ostro instilled in us, that's my sister and me, and my mother, that this is the way to go.
By the 5th grade, Vera was earning money by washing baby diapers for a neighbor, and from that time forward she had to work to help support the family. In the early years, Vera says she always got along with white children. They played together without any racial tension. But then, as Delray grew, she says things began to change.
I think some of the tourists brought that with them, because as I said before, when they started coming down here, they needed us, and we needed them. But then they were the ones that decided that this is Swinton Avenue. And after 6 o'clock, African Americans were not supposed to be on the east side of Swinton Avenue. You have to be on the west side, little things like that. But we didn't make too much of it because we needed their money.
Vera founded the Spady Museum as a resource for people seeking information about the city's black history and culture. And over the years, she has learned some lessons herself.
Strive to become the best person you could be so that others would respect you as a human being, as a person. I like her because she's kind. I like her because she's neat, want to take care of herself. Fast money is not always the way to go. There's a slogan that somebody told me years ago. It's nice to be important, but it's also important to be nice. And I always remember that and try to live by that.
Roy Foster grew up in Georgia. His mother died when he was young, so he and his sister were raised by their grandmother, grandfather, and adopted aunt. Then his father remarried.
On this particular day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever the day was, that was the shiny black car that drove up to the house. My sister and I had no idea as to what was taking place, but who it was the sheriff department with the order saying you have to release these children to the father and the stepmother. And that was one of the most traumatic events in my life right there, which I remember distinctly, the whole process of everyone crying, grandmother and everyone just falling over in tears. And now we're pulled from this loving environment, thrust into another family that already had a structure because the stepmother had 7 kids already.
He got into sports in high school and was never involved with drugs or alcohol, but school was clearly not important to him. So Roy joined the military, where he found temptation all around him.
I finished my training, and I then went to Germany, where alcohol and the EM clubs was a part. Germany, in every little town, beer was a staple there. So in every little town, they had their own breweries.
He was also introduced to hashish, which he says was prevalent in Germany. Before long, Roy found himself hooked on drugs and alcohol. And for the next 20 years, he was so out of control that he couldn't bring himself to go home and visit his grandmother until she became sick.
She identified, in my eyes, I don't, they have that. She said, "You got it. I know you're okay now." And it wasn't very long there, so she passed away. I remember that so distinctly. It was burned so deeply in my heart that it was no longer an option to change my life.
One night, when he was staying in a seedy hotel in West Palm's North End, 2 police officers came to his door while he was getting high, a seasoned veteran and a rookie. The veteran stood in the doorway and blocked the rookie from entering the room again and again.
Because if they would have come in, I was busted. He blocked his path every time. He said, "Son, I don't know what's going on, but you need to get it together." And they left. When they left, within an hour, I left. I left everything there, and I started to walk then to Faith Farms in Boynton Beach. I walked all the way out there because, 3 o'clock in the morning.
By making that choice in 1991, he turned his life around, and he's been clean ever since. He saw how badly other veterans with similar drug problems were being treated, and he wanted to help.
And I had a very good friend who was Air Force that was at Faith Farms with me as well. And he was definitely the shaker and the baker. He was not afraid or intimidated by anyone, any economical, educational. He could maneuver in any realm. And I told him what I wanted, and he said, Roy, we can make this happen.
It took nearly 10 years, but in May of 2000, they opened Stand Down House with no money except their own resources. They began with 24 beds and soon began to grow to meet the need.
We definitely want to empower them and restore their dignity to them, because these men that are here and that have come through here have been some very successful men. I mean, we've had lawyers, doctors, PhDs. We've had some very educated individuals.
Stand Down House provides a bed, 3 meals a day, and even clothing. Clients get outpatient care at the VA. They get help with job skills and learn how to shop, how to budget, and how to cook. And they can stay at Stand Down House for up to 2 years. Since its inception, Stand Down House has helped nearly 1,200 men regain control of their lives. So why does Roy do it?
To see one of these men that have left here to walk down that sidewalk, and you can see those little ones and the wife coming down the sidewalk with them, man. No greater reward.
I hate to see that evening sun go down.
Avery Summers grew up in West Palm Beach, where she took piano lessons along with voice and dance lessons. She describes it as a wonderful way to grow up.
We don't have a community now like the one that I had when I grew up, where I knew everybody or just about. And I knew that if they saw me do anything that was not quite right, I was going to have it to pay, you know, from them as well as from my parents. I was not a rebellious kid, not at all. I loved it. I wanted to do it because I wanted to sing since I was 5 years old. And any opportunity that I could get, I was shy. Not that not that they didn't have to push me a bit, but once I got there and I realized the spotlight was on me, I loved it.
After finishing school, Avery wanted to go to California to join her sister Betty and to perfect her craft.
Nobody understood Los Angeles in our family that we knew of. There had never been anybody in this business, and what are you doing, and we don't understand. You should be a teacher like we are. We understand that, and we know that that works.
She made the choice to go to Los Angeles, where she trained and trained and trained. All of her hard work paid off when she was cast in the show Hair. She also worked with Doc Severinsen's band and with Sammy Davis Jr., Jerry Lewis, and even Michael Jackson. She then went to New York and appeared in the Broadway show Platinum. The years of hard work really paid off when she auditioned for the Broadway production of Ain't Misbehavin'.
They had auditioned people from New Jersey and Connecticut and New York before I walked in and got the job. So what's that? Is that fate, or, you know? I don't know. I work hard though, so hopefully some of it is the result of working hard.
After Ain't Misbehavin', Avery returned to West Palm Beach, where she impressed native son Burt Reynolds.
Burt had a theater in Jupiter, and it was really wonderful to work with him because he put me in BL Stryker, which was the first TV series that he did, which was shot right down here, and with Ossie Davis, who was just a gentle giant. Just absolutely loved those two men in my life. It was very special.
Burt's next local project was the movie The Man from Left Field.
I smile on the inside. Before the smile comes to my face, I'm smiling on the inside because it's so glorious to me to have been chosen to work with him.
Avery wrote her own show called This Little Light of Mine and made the choice to produce it at the Quillo Center, using students from Palm Beach County schools to play some of the roles. During the early rehearsal, she was skeptical that her advice was having an impact on the cast.
And I didn't know whether they heard me or not, because they were texting each other, and they were talking, and they were laughing, and then they would go whatever, and I'd say, okay, let's, get up and get ready to do this. And I'll tell you, they gave me back that information, right back at me like this. And I mean, I still get it gives me that smile on the inside.
The experience brought her close to her cast members, and it changed her outlook.
Well, I would love to, just sit down with each of them and find out, where are they? What are they doing now? It's only been a year and a half, maybe almost 2 now. But are they pursuing their dreams? How are they doing? Did I help in any kind of way? That's what I would love to know. Did I help? And I would love to work with some more young kids. Gosh, I think I'm in love with teaching. That's new to me. Never thought that would come out of my mouth. But I love working with the young people.
Those were truly inspiring stories, Alan.
Well, they certainly were, Laurel. And I'd like to thank everyone who shared their stories with us. They made the choice to better themselves, and I think that message is those people did it, and you can too. Each and every one of us has the potential to achieve.
For WXEL, I'm Laurel Sauer.
And I'm Alan Gerstel. We'll see you again next time on Heritage.
And if you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to email us at heritage@wxel.org.